Twitch! Oh no! I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to take Em to work. I rolled over, I picked up my phone, I turned it on, and the first fucking thing that's on my Twitter feed is Twitch's entire fucking code base was leaked.
Mm.
The whole Git repository, the whole fucking kit and caboodle, top to bottom, shit that's like almost back to the inception of Twitch. And then on top of that, some more recent, I think 2019, 2020, revenue numbers for I don't know if that was like subs plus ads or just subs or what those numbers were, but for the top whatever 1,000 partners
10,
or whatever the shit it was, was it 10,000?
Yeah.
I actually haven't looked at the
I'm
just the ones that
401, baby. 401.
Hey!
I didn't get Grandmasters. I wasn't in the top 200, but we broke 401. We couldn't break the 400.
There's always next year.
I wasn't in the Millionaire Club.
Hey, you know what? Actually, given the age of the numbers, maybe you have bumped yourself up a couple of spots since those numbers were relevant. It's possible.
I might have. It's possible.
It's possible. I can tell you where I'm on the list, somewhere between 9,999 and not even on there.
I think you are on there. Somebody said.
I might be, honestly. If it's 10,000, I probably am, but I would be about 9,999 on that list. But it you know what? Like a lot of conversation obviously is centered around that, which is, you know, there's two conversations happening. One, it's the streamers mostly, you know, joking about the financial thing, but then talking about the ramifications of having the entirety of Twitch fucking leaked to the internet. And the other side is a lot of the viewers talking almost exclusively about the revenue numbers coming out for these channels. And it was kind of surprising to me at this point that so many people are still shocked about the numbers, because even the bigger streamers, most people, this isn't hidden information, especially subscriber counts, and you can easily take a stab at how much money you could ballpark these numbers with publicly available information. And so there's a lot of people still somehow shocked that some of these people are making as much money as they are in the run of a month on subscribers. So that was a bit weird. And then the other conversation that, of course, came up was that now that you've seen the top 10,000, and you see how quickly it drops off, like a cliff, right? Where you're getting like, you know, XQC or whatever at $760,000 or whatever in a month, and then you've got, you know, your numbers going down from there, and then once you break out of like maybe the top 1,000, it's like it just fucking yeets itself.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of that is to do with viewership, right? So like the ad
it is. Yeah,
ad
it falls off.
revenue, the ad revenue is massive for, you know, X and a Summit or, you know, any of these other big streamers that
Do we know if that's ad revenue plus subs in those? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was just sub or if it was sub plus ad revenue in those numbers.
Yeah, so I mean, that's probably why there's such a large. I mean, if you've got tens of thousands of viewers and you're running one set of ads, like you're making hundreds of dollars from just one 30-second break, right? It's like, you know, people, large streamers are making tens of thousands of dollars a month just in ad revenue. Could be even like some big ones making hundreds of thousands. Like, it's not even an exaggeration. So yeah, I think that might be the part that like threw some people off, because I mean, you're right, like people's sub counts are right there. If you see a streamer and they've got 50,000 subs, you know they're at least making $2.50 a sub. Yeah. And you know if they have that much, they're getting more than that. Their revenue split is way better than that. So like, just do the math, you know? It's right there. And the crazy thing is people are like, oh my God, like these streamers are making millions of dollars a year. It's like, dude, this is just Twitch money. This is actually probably the smallest part of the pie.
It is absolutely, for the majority of anyone that you're seeing on that list. This is like the smallest number.
This is like, this is the toppings, you know? the big money comes from brand deals. That's where the big fucking money is. Like huge money. Like millions for some of these people, right? So like, then you got donations, you got merch. Some of these people, some of these streamers have large YouTube channels that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Like there's a lot more than, so like people's full pays. I mean, there's going to be some streamers on the list that all they do is stream on Twitch and they don't do sponsors. They don't do, or not very many that would make any substantial amount of a difference.
But if you're looking at the top 500, that's...
But if you're looking at the top,
they're doing more than just...
Of course.
Twitch revenue.
If they're not, they need to get representation immediately, and they need to learn how to run a business because they're leaving a lot of money on the table. But yeah, no, it's crazy. It doesn't surprise me at this point that everything gets leaked out.
The leak of like most stuff is not surprising, but when the entire website's code base gets leaked, that was a bit shocking to me, because that's like, I don't think I've ever heard of that happening anywhere before, where the entire everything, repository, the whole thing, code notes all the way down through, completely fucking dumped on the internet is shocking for me anyway. The other stuff not so much, but that was kind of shocking. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah. So I mean it's there. Twitch didn't say much for a while until they said, yeah, we've been compromised. It doesn't seem like anybody's passwords or anything like that got leaked to our knowledge. And Twitch would have said something if that was the case by now.
Well, the passwords are there, but they're hashed or whatever the fuck. Yes. So they're
you're not going to know what it is.
Unless somebody has a lot of time to brute force through some shit. And that's why even then you just change your password and you're
but I mean good. Everybody was freaking out like, change your password now, and I'm like, guys, I didn't really I was just like, breathe a little bit, because for one, if somebody's hacked the accounts and you change your password, they're going to see your password, your new password. Like wait until Twitch gets shit under control, and then make the proper adjustments. If you have 2FA, you're fine anyway. So everybody just kind of freaking out, and I just found it more entertaining because Twitch literally the day before was shitting on Facebook for going down, and they were talking about posting memes and making fun of them and hitting the like button and stuff. And here they are the next day, less than 24 hours later. It's like 12 hours later.
Dude, they trended harder than Facebook. There was like 800,000 tweets.
Way harder. It was way harder. I mean, it was just you couldn't write the karma any thicker. So yeah, this is just another thing. I mean, I think people were surprised on how much streamers make, but I think at the same time they weren't. I've been hearing a lot of other discussions that seem to be more of a discussion than anything, because even the streamers are like memeing themselves. It was like, oh, you guys,
absolutely.
You guys didn't know we made millions of dollars.
Like nobody could be seriously upset about
my Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you have no idea why we all moved to Texas, so we don't pay taxes. Or I guess income tax. It's not, if it's not a big secret. I mean, obviously there are a lot of streamers that don't show their sub counts. They don't want people to know how much money they make. Some streamers are afraid that if people knew how much money they make, that they wouldn't support, which means they wouldn't make as much money. But ultimately,
there is a weird fine line between...
Just don't be braggadocious about it. Just don't be a guy that's like, hey, I've got millions of fucking dollars. I mean, unless you're like Doc, right? Like a guy that his
persona like covers his ass in that regard,
it's his persona, right? And like to be cocky and arrogant and like, all this stuff is like, you just get it. But I mean, if you're kind of somebody, like if you're going to be a streamer, right? And you're going to complain about like, oh, I'm having a hard time paying my bills, or I'm really hurting, guys, and you're making $500,000 a year or $1 million a year, I mean, you kind of look like an idiot. But if you're just doing your job and you're doing whatever, it's like who's who can really say anything? Like, it is what it is. I mean, and
It's
that's
just
not
that,
even
like,
a
the
representation
discussion-
of what they've made.
No,
fully.
the discussion. Well, I mean, it really does show you how many people just don't know about the revenue aspects of content creation, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or otherwise, and or at least to the extent, because there seems to be a couple groups of people. There's one group that thinks that like everyone on Twitch is making, it's a partner is making like fucking amazing money, and then there's the other people that are on the other side of the coin where they live in a world where their favorite streamer, even if their favorite streamer's in like the top 250 people on the website, aren't raking in tons of money. And so they'll keep just sending in like half of their paycheck a month to a streamer. And there is like, it's not something, none of these topics could be broad stroke, but there is definitely, like, for example, the concept you talked about, people not telling others about their sub counts and whatnot. There is, depending on the community that you're in, this weird line that you're walking between people supporting you because they actually support your content creation, and people supporting you because it's a bit of your content creation, but them trying to, there's like a parasocial relationship in which they're supporting you, like as a person, versus you're creating content that I consume and I want to pay you for that.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are, I'm just going to give you money because I like you and I think that you need this money, and so here it is.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's a lot less for. I think that second part largely is on streamers that aren't fully established and aren't. There's gonna be viewers or fans that are gonna want to give to you in any way they can because they want to help you out and stuff like that. Like, I get that, but I would like to think that most people that support my content, there are some that I would like to think that they're doing it to make sure that for one, they appreciate it and they consume a lot of it, so they want to support it, and to make sure that it can keep going. Because the reality is, man, if like people don't support the stream, like I'm just not streaming. Like, it's just and there's a fine line. So I get that, but I'm not upset about stuff getting out. And to be honest, I didn't even look at what number they said I made, and I didn't even like fact check it because it's hard. I mean, I guess I theoretically could look on the back end of Twitch and like see if it matches up. But I would assume that things are probably relatively close, seeing as from the numbers from the other streamers. And I'm a streamer, so I kind of know, give or take, like sort of what people are making. But yeah, no, I mean, who cares, dude? For me, I'm happy for everybody. If they're making millions of dollars, hey, good on you.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Like, I'm happy for
you. Because the discussion is similar to like, why do actors in movies make X dollars and then the director only makes X dollars kind of thing. It's like this this view of any form of entertainment, any entertainment industry, where they say, is this person, like, the immediate thing is a Twitch streamer, is Tim the Tat Man really worth more than a brain surgeon? And the answer to that is well, Tim isn't performing brain surgery, so thankfully he's not getting paid for doing brain surgery. But at the same token, there are fewer people paying to have brain surgery than there are paying to watch Tim the Tat Man play a video game for $5 a month. You get hundreds of thousands of people, and a large portion of them are going to spend $5 a month on your shit. It's not like each one of those people are paying you $150,000 to perform brain surgery on you. They're paying you $5 a month. It just so happens that the amount of people paying is huge. It's volume. And so then you get sponsorship deals because you have the eyeballs and people want advertising money. And that's just kind of what the market pays for this shit. It's not like if you came to me and said, like, I make more than teachers do, for example. If you said, hey, you think you're worth more than, earning more than a teacher in a year? No, of course not.
I do.
I don't think I should necessarily.
I do.
I don't think that I'm more value to society than a teacher.
Well, there you go. That's a better thing. But in terms of money, yeah, I absolutely think I deserve more money than teachers because I hold more economic value than a teacher does, right? So I bring more dollars to my employer, right? A teacher, you know, they are this is gonna sound bad because I already, it's whatever. I don't give a fuck what people think. I'm just telling you guys the truth. The teacher's value in terms of like an economic value is very low in comparison to a Tim the Tap Man, myself, and many others, even you, for example. Now, in terms of the value you bring to society, in terms of like your impact on society, yeah, teachers are much more valuable. I think having one less gamer on the internet gaming opposed to having one less teacher, in terms of impact on youth, etc., however you want to put it, yeah, teachers are more important. But in terms of economic value, is the money you generate for the industry, our economic value is much more higher than what a teacher, most teachers. There are some teachers that get paid millions of dollars, and they are very specific, and they bring specific economic value because the ones that they're teaching are bringing massive economic value to the industries that they're going into. But I'm talking about your everyday high school teacher or whatever. There's only so much economic value they can bring, and if they don't want to do it, there's going to be somebody else that can go into their shoes because the level of expertise or talent that you need to be a high school teacher isn't in the same realm as the expertise that you would need at that same level in gaming. So, and I don't mean gamers are smarter, but the benchmark, right? You're when you're a teacher, you're in a pool, right? It's like if you're a firefighter, you're typically in a pool. Like obviously you're going to have like your leaders or your chiefs or whatever they call them, and they're going to hold a little bit more value. But there's a benchmark. But when it comes to a streamer, video games, or an actor, or a musician, whatever art you want to talk about, is the barrier to entry is different. And there is a much higher scale ability than there is with a teacher. It doesn't mean that you're more important than a teacher or more important than a brain surgeon. Brain surgeons are pretty fucking important, but for their own reasons. But your ladder for your ability to make more is way bigger. It's the same thing if you're a lawyer and you just go work for a law firm, you might make $100,000, $150,000 a year. But if you open up your own practice, you're going to be, you can make millions of dollars a year because you hold more economic value to the industry and you're able to get more out of it. So, this argument that I hear, and I haven't heard it very often in terms of this. I have seen some tweets and I read some articles about like, oh my God, how are these streamers making this much? It's just like, they bring more economic value to the industry. So they're worth more. I'm not going to complain. Like, dude, I stream a lot more than some of these other streamers that are making 20 times more than I am. Doesn't mean that I think I'm more important or that I work harder. They just bring more value. They have a niche. They have a lane. Maybe they're in a game that just has a bigger spread. Maybe they've networked better. Maybe they're just doing things differently. And so they hold more of an economic value. Doesn't mean one streamer is more important than the other in terms of the value you give to society, like morally or whatever. It's
no, it's where
you generate.
Yes, it's but so I think the distinction is, and I'm not, and this is everything I'm about to say is not a counterpoint to what you just said because what you said is true. It's there's an immediacy of value in the entertainment industry that doesn't exist in other sectors. So entertainment value can be huge, and it can happen and it can be generated in like a day. You can have somebody, and you can measure it. It's easy to measure. It is easy to measure when you've got an attractive chick on Instagram or TikTok pushing some random fucking pre-workout supplement in the background of her wearing the same pair of yoga pants that 1,000 other chicks are wearing. It's easy to measure that. You know how many people are going through a link. You know how many people are buying the product. You can immediately apply a value economically to that, and it can be a huge generator of economic value, monetary value. So it's really easy to track. And immediate. There's a lot of immediacy. As we all know, everyone likes to pay a lot of money for immediate anything. It's really challenging for some, so for when people start to bring up things like teachers, for example, or firefighters, like you said, it's difficult because it's challenging to, one, their economic impact is not as easily measurable. It's not as immediate. And it's not in a place in which there are so many hands, I guess, trying to get into the cookie jar all at the same time, I guess is the way that I could put it. So like with teachers, for example, regardless of what level of a teacher you're talking about, whether it's like a primary school teacher all the way up through elementary school and junior high and high school and beyond, is the economic impact of each individual teacher that any individual student comes across is correlated with how good of a teacher they were and what the students' absorption of whatever it is that they were providing of that material all the way up through. If you have shitty teachers, you oftentimes end up with dumber people. It's just kind of the way, like, if otherwise we wouldn't look back at our time at school and be able to readily determine which teachers fucked us up and which teachers were actually very beneficial to us as a student, or at the same time, which teachers perhaps should not have been a teacher at all. But like in university, where they've been, they have tenure and they could do literally whatever the fuck they want. And they're never going to get fired. So you show up to class, and you're paying all this money, and all they do is say, open up the textbook that I wrote 5 years ago. Read the chapter, and I'm going to loosely quiz you on it, but I'm not actually going to teach you anything in this class. Go have fun. Versus other teachers that aren't tenured that oftentimes or professors that aren't tenured that oftentimes end up being the most beneficial to you from a learning perspective. And then when you come out the other side, whether you're learning within the school system or whether you went to a vocational school, or let's say you were learning a trade or something of that nature, the value of a teacher in any of those steps is not immediate economic value, but it's the value of the person that comes out the other side and how much money they generate.
They're replaceable.
So are you and I.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we don't have a career that is guaranteed, right? That's why our span of life isn't that of a teacher that can have a career for 30, 40 years. It's why most of us have 3-5-year careers, 2-year careers, 1-year career. 1 year you're really good and you're on top, the next you're not. So that reflects that. We're replaceable very quickly, right? With a teacher.
How does that replaceability convert to higher dollar value between the two situations?
Because if you're really good at your job and you're in terms of when you're I'm just using a streamer because what we do and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you're a Tim the Tat Man or you're a Dr. Lupo or whatever, you're not as easy replaceable. Right? You are an anomaly. Right, you are the 0.0001% of an industry of millions and millions and millions of people, and so you're going to have a massive impact, and you're not as easily replaceable. Just like how if you have an amazing university teacher or a film teacher that can bring in some of the best actors and actresses, they want to learn from you. They will pay you tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to enter your course to be taught by you because you bring economic value to them
and the skills that they can have to go out there and make it in Hollywood. Even having your name that you've been taught by this person holds economic value. So they get paid a lot more than, say, a junior high or a high school teacher. I'm not saying the importance of a junior high or high school or an elementary school teacher isn't important. It's very important, because, you know, teachers mold your children.
Well, it comes down to what people place arbitrary value on. So there's an arbitrary value to the Juilliard School, right? Versus
but what I'm
else.
saying is a junior high, a high school, and an elementary school teacher, they're very replaceable, and there are so many of them that their economic value, they're not they don't specialize in something that brings in large amounts of money, right? You don't become a teacher to make large amounts of money. You just don't. Listen, if teachers get into teaching and then they start bitching about how much money they make, I mean, this is literally what you signed up for, and nothing has changed. So unless you are that special teacher that can bring economic value to a university or a trade or whatever, that people demand you, or you become a great tutor that, you know, people that you are really making an impact outside of your normal job, that's when you can start caking up. Is because people, okay, well, you're so good with kids that, you know, my son or daughter can, you know, pass this grade or whatever. That's how you bring more economic value to yourself as a teacher. What I'm saying is there are so many teachers and there's not enough jobs. With streaming, it's an open market. With acting, it's an open market. With a musician, it's an open market. It's whatever you want to. There is no ceiling. There's no cap. But as a regular teacher, there is a cap, and you are capped, and you know what you're getting yourself into. So that's why you cannot compare apples to oranges. They're two different industries, and they're two different beasts altogether. One has a ceiling, and one doesn't. And you can argue that, you know, a teacher's ceiling, you can really elevate the ceiling to a degree. Like if you want to work in the summers when nobody else is working, you want to tutor after school or whatever, or you want to be that university teacher that wrote all the textbooks and are selling $500,000 worth of textbooks a year for the school, and that gets tenure, and it's like, hey, look at me. Then so be it. I mean, that's why those university teachers make large amounts of money, way more than an elementary school teacher, because they just hold more value economically. Once again, this isn't me saying who's more important of a person and your value as a human being. This is an economic value only. It's just facts. That's just it.
Yeah.
But one argument that I've heard from some articles here about all this money that these streamers are making is the majority of those people aren't even making minimum wage. So like if you look at you know what the streamers and how many hours they're putting in, et cetera, that they're not even making minimum wage. And that once again strengthens my argument that it's what you put in. It's the skill, it's the cap. There's so many streamers that it is tough to really make it in the industry, and the ones that do are rewarded handsomely financially because you know, they have the eyeballs. Same with that attractive Instagram model. You know, it's you get paid what you're worth, and that's just it in that specific industry.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is like where the money is coming from. So in our business, the money is coming from largely the tech and entertainment sector, which is worth bajillions of fucking dollars, to the point where they can come out and companies can justifiably pay somebody to play 4 hours of their video game for $75,000 whereas in the other jobs that we've discussed, by and large, like just to stay within the same lanes, teachers and firefighters are often government positions, or they're paid, at least in Canada, for example, they're and I think even in the US, they're paid out of the government's coffers. And so like you'd have to almost take it into consideration what like a private school, for example, where each student is paying, you know,
$25,000 a year,
$30,000 a year for an individual student.
Yeah.
And then whatever the teachers are making at a private school versus a public school, even though they're serving essentially the same functions.
But they bring in revenue. Yeah,
but
they bring in economic revenue.
They bring in revenue, but like, you know, talking to or knowing friends that have gone to private school, you had just an equal chance that your teachers sucked balls as they were really good. It's just that they convinced somebody to get a job at a private school.
Yeah, but that's not
versus
the argument,
doing a
though.
public school.
But
No,
that's not
no,
the
I
argument.
understand.
You're using two different arguments to blend
I'm not
it to
trying.
make-
I'm not actually trying to make an argument of any of this. What I'm
Okay.
saying, I'm not even trying to have an argument about it. What I'm saying is that it depends on where the money is coming from. So in a private institution where you have people that have money, that have placed value on a private education, are willing to pay the dollars. The government, in a public sense, is not willing to or want to spend $30,000 per student in what they consider to be education value and spread that across whatever that is, whether it's teacher wages or otherwise. That money doesn't. If you looked at the amount of dollars per
isn't
student,
the same either. The atmosphere isn't the same, right? So it's not just about what's public and what's private, right? You're paying. You're not just paying for better teachers. Typically, for a private school, you're paying for the segregation of not being part of the public school system, which has typically more issues, more, you know, in terms of
by and large, you're paying for what is considered to be a higher quality teacher with a better teacher to student ratio is 99% of that. And then the name on the other side, when you're pushing your son or daughter through private school into a higher end university, when they come out the other side, their acumen is, look at all of the schooling that I've had versus somebody else's schooling. You're paying for a name, you're paying for a better teacher student ratio, and you're paying for what is supposed to be a higher quality teacher in general, because they're supposed to be, or
you're able to dedicate
assumed
more
to be
time.
vetted.
You're able to dedicate more time to a student.
Yes,
But
because of the ratio. Yeah,
a lot of people that put their kids in private school, it's not necessarily as much as you. A lot of it isn't for better
it's
education.
prestige.
It's prestige.
Yes.
It's get away from the lower class. And we don't want to associate. We don't want to have certain class of people mingling and and putting impressions on our child.
The reasons for why there is not what I'm trying to even have a conversation about. What I'm saying is that,
but there's value in that to the person that's paying, right?
Yes, yes. You have officially managed to get my point. Is that the person putting value in these two positions? If you had to look at it as a whole body, the government is this singular person that is deciding the value that they place on the public school system and how much money to spend, and therefore how much money teachers make. That's it. That's one side. That's the public side. The private side, which in every sector has more money than the government side, because the government side, short of military expenditure, that's the show. And even private military is oftentimes
it's the same thing with
money.
Public and private healthcare. It's the same thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So people that are putting the value, it's their choice of putting it, and that actually illustrates the point even more, that it's not even necessarily about the true value that a private school would bring, but like you said, it's just the prestige of it. It's the thought it's the thought of it. Yes, the value. It's the value that the individual is placing on it, right? So it doesn't actually have to mean that the teacher or the institution or anything is actually producing anything more. It's just that the perceived value.
It is, though. But that's the thing,
perceived.
right?
It's perceived.
But that
it's perceived value.
Private healthcare and private schooling, it isn't perceived better. It's
but
statistically
for
better.
the point that you were making,
Yes.
is that from the aspect. Fuck. Follow me on this, please.
I am.
It's not even that No, listen.
Adam,
Listen.
Jesus
I'm trying
Christ.
to pull out the point that you literally yourself made.
It isn't. I told you, it isn't the only reason.
I know it's not the only reason, but you said by and large for people, it is the prestige. It's getting it out of the plebeians. It's away from the common class. They're not as interested as all of the other value that I mentioned at first. And so what I'm trying to say is that just like in that sector, the perceived value as a portion of the value that people are paying, just like when somebody walks into a stream and pays the money, that is why entertainers make so much money. It's an individual perceived value versus the actual value that can be measured.
Yeah, but you literally also told me just a minute ago that just because you're private doesn't mean you're getting better teachers, which statistically speaking, it is better education. And that's part of what you're paying for. I was just adding that it isn't the only thing that people are paying for it. So yeah, you get better teachers. You get to be away from the plebeians. It's statistically better in every aspect. That's what you're paying for. That's the value. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, when people are discussing this whole situation about why are people making millions of dollars, it's because it's in a private sector run by people that are paying, that have lots of money, and the stuff that they do, the realms that they operate in, are tons of money. Merchandise, content of any type, all that shit is worth lots of money because you have pretty much everyone in society taking part in this exact thing, and a lot of it. How much people are watching any type of content, and how many what an eyeball is worth, or eyeballs are worth to these companies, is a shitload of money. If it was something that was in an industry where there isn't so much money on the line, then yeah, then your Tim the Tatmans and your Dr. Disrespects and your XQCs wouldn't be making $4 million a month because the people paying wouldn't perceive the value of that being the case. Like if you were to it's like, and we've talked about this before too, is that, and the part of the perceived value of all of this industry where, and even for us, we've been in positions of this being the case, and maybe you'll disagree with me on this, I don't know. But in the concept of like a company coming to you, and it's usually a middleman working in marketing, working on an agency, or it's a person within the marketing department of a bigger company because they don't have to outsource it, and they come to you and they say, all right, look, this is our budget. And on their end, especially in marketing departments, they are given a budget and they're expected to spend all of it. Whether it actually generates the value back in return is secondary to spending the budget in its entirety. And so they could come to you and say, look, we want you to play this game. We want you to play New World for a day or two, and we're going to pay you $100,000 for it. There is no fucking universe in which they are going to incur or get back $100,000 of value 99% of the time for any streamer playing it for a single day. That just doesn't exist. Most of the deals that you and I have done, and when you negotiate for it because you know they have a budget that they have to spend, that's part of the weapons that you take to the table. You know they got to burn through this money. So you go in and you say, we'll do it for this much. And you know damn well as a content creator, they're never going to make that money back, but it doesn't matter because they have to spend the money. So that's this industry specifically, the entertainment industry, has so much money, swimming in marketing money, that's where all of this fucking money comes from. Because Twitch as a company itself, when people look at these numbers, like we said, that's the smallest piece of the pie. If you knew all the shit they make from sponsorships,
from the big dogs, from the top
like the
dogs,
actual people that have money, because Twitch is broke. Twitch is literally broke. I doubt that they're even making money right now. I bet you they're in the fucking red. Because running a platform like this of video content is insanely expensive. And you've got millions and millions of people. Like, there are people streaming to people with one viewer. And it's for like 13 hours. And it's just one person watching. And it's generating $0, but it's sucking money out of the system. They're making like nothing. So all of this money that people see from Twitch is the smallest part for that reason. There's none there. But in the entertainment side, like the people that are like actually like the fucking big, the money's huge. That's why they get paid.
Twitch is making money, but they're just they're in some serious debt.
They're in debt. I don't know if they're running positive yet.
Well, they might not be, but they're going to. I mean, it's just all about gathering. You know, it's kind of like what Facebook or YouTube is doing, is they're gathering the talent, and you know, then they're going to monetize as they can as they build, and that's what Amazon is doing. I mean, you look at Amazon Prime and how they're intertwining all this. There's that leak shit about them coming out with the Steam competitor. You know, there's ways that they're going to end up, you know, coming out on top. The company isn't going to go bankrupt. You know, they are definitely going to be profitable, if not already. But you're right. I do agree with the sentiment. They are not swimming in money. In fact, these streamers, these top dogs, are making more money than what Twitch is, guaranteed. In terms of like ratio and what they're putting in versus what they're getting out. I mean, it's not even close. But Twitch will ultimately, you know, be laughing in the end, 100%.
Yeah, but so just to bring it home, like the concept of that, so in the public sector where it's government expenditure, you're not talking about media conglomerates that are swimming in hundreds of billions of dollars, and there's a very defined budget, and that's the show. And so if you've got to spread that budget across a whole bunch of shit, then that's all the money that you're going to get. And so it's really, the discussion is really about where individuals like you and I as consumers, or consumers, place a lot of their value and a lot of their money. And we all know that we live in a consumer world, right? You know, we spend huge amounts of our money for the small amount of free time that we tend to have in the run of a day. That's where a lot of our expenses go towards, is buying shit. Whether it's the headphones on our head, the TVs on our walls, the shoes on our feet, the phone we rebuy every 365 days, whatever it is, that's where people have placed their value. That's where they think things are worth money. And so when, the discussion of why is Tim making this much money, the answer is there are hundreds of thousands of people that are willing to spend time with him that makes him worth that much money. It's not a question of, like you were saying, it's not a question of the brain surgeon or the teacher not being societally more important. It's just that sadly or not, society doesn't put as much value on a surgeon, a teacher, a nurse, a firefighter as they do on the content that people create on a daily basis. If you ask people to give, you know, let's say what their budgetary expense for Netflix and a couple other things, Disney Plus and shit was, to their local fire station, they tell you to go fuck themselves. Like because they don't see that that's worth that money. But if you say, all right, well, you know, this new streaming service is coming up and it's got an exclusive show that's going to hit your nostalgia bone, and yeah, they might not have very many other shows, but you want to at least see that, that's worth $20 a month for the next 6 months. They'll be, yeah, okay. But if you, but from a value point of view for most people, giving that same amount of money to something like a fire department, local fire department, is never going to fucking happen. It's just because of where people put their value. So don't get mad at the streamers for making the money.
Oh, I mean, I pay firefighters and teachers shit tons of money. I'm taxed up the fucking walls. So I am doing that, and all these streamers that are making all this money, they are bringing value back to all of those sectors. So, you know,
I'm not talking from a tax point of view. We all know what your feelings are on tax,
well,
and that you'd like to live in Switzerland for the rest of your life.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not about to walk down to my old fucking high school and start handing out my teachers $1,000 checks because I appreciate what they're doing. It's just like
That's what I mean. Is that like the value is, you see that whatever you're getting, like despite how little that they may or may not be, you know, getting paid, especially more in the U.S. than here. Our teachers get paid pretty decently here, but the value is placed in other places, and especially when you're paying tax and you see a huge part of your money go away in taxes, and it goes to a bajillion different places.
Yeah,
and unfortunately not enough of it, because you don't get to choose where the tax money goes, that the government chooses where the tax money goes. You just know that you're losing 30 to 40% of it at the end of
50.
every year.
30, 40, 50.
Well, in your tax bracket, the vast majority of people aren't sitting in your tax bracket. Most people are sitting 30 to 40% in Canada, not 50.
And then they want to bitch that we're making a bunch of money, but they don't, you know, It's half of it's gone, like straight up. So
Well,
you know, so you know,
40% of 100 grand or 50% of 500 grand. It's like
a lot of money.
it is a lot of money either way, but proportionately, it's the same. It means the same. And after a certain point of the money that you're making, not to make this a totally different conversation,
Doesn't
it's a totally different argument where you're talking about like how much extra money is left over between two people in two different tax brackets. It's not that they shouldn't. It's not that an argument about them shouldn't not having to make more money if they want to have more expendable income. But the discussion around 40% of 100 grand versus 50% of 500 grand is proportionately almost a non-starter because the money that's left over on 500 grand
is about like $20-30 million over 20 years at 8%, you know? Something only, you know, but yeah, it's generational money. Life literally family tree money, like generationally.
Well, if you're already making that money, you're already made generational and family tree money anyway.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Once you've hit like a bracket where you can just like basically at will buy property and just have it and sit on it, that's not already, you've already hit generational income
Not
off
necessarily.
of that one?
Not necessarily.
Okay. All right. All right. So what is generational wealth on that the 8% difference in tax at the upper end? What is the generational wealth gap? Like where do you suddenly have generational wealth these days?
Individual. Everything is individual.
Oh, okay.
You can't paint everything with a brush.
Okay.
Like everybody's different. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's situation's different. It's individually. I can't count somebody else's money, but I know what I can do with an extra $100,000 a year or $30,000 a year. I know what I can do with it. I don't know what everybody else is doing.
Fair enough.